Hello and hi. Instead of my usual newsletter this week, I wanted to record a video for you so that you can listen to this message rather than read. One of the things I wanted to say that for me, I always wanted to be real, right? I wanted to be a person, a coach that really empowers you to the better life, better health, better career, but first of all, better mindset, because I believe that this is a lot to do with the foundation. And I have been coaching in health, people wanted to be healthier, lose weight, reverse type 2 diabetes, all of that coach, but all of those people wanted to do that. And then when I was coaching, one of the things that was really, really, truly evident is that the mindset is so important for long-term result, especially the emotional grounding. We are emotional human beings, right? We do have emotions, but we don't want our emotions to rule our life all the time. And I always say that if we are angry, if we are full of emotions, our intelligence is low. And I guess you probably were in a situation where you, after saying something, doing something, you regretted it. Because we have such a rush of adrenaline into our emotions, we don't think clearly and we say things we don't want to say. And it's not only about saying this to other people, but also to yourself, right? So in health journey, I've seen people making progress, but then there was this self-sabotage which kicked in and they couldn't get out of it because of their emotions. Something happened in their life. They didn't like their work. The boss was really abusive. The family balance is not right because you feel like you're doing everything and other family members not necessarily sort of feels that everything is on your shoulder. And emotions do kick in and we obviously want to feel better. I always say it's not what you eat, but what is eating you. Because I think that's the problem for most of us. We can't cope with difficult emotions, which inevitably there are in our life. And therefore, what is happening is that we want to feel better in an instant, like this instant gratification, because that's how we've been taught. When you think about children, when they cry, instead of parents to just allow them to get that emotion out, that we want them to feel better immediately. Don't cry, you're gonna get a candy and sweet. Oh, don't do this, you're gonna get this. And we learn through our life that difficult emotions are bad for us, that they cause us to behave in a certain way, and we don't want that. So I've learned over the years that emotional grounding, and also coach a lot of patients and a lot of clients, that we need to make your emotions strong. It's not that everyone wants to start there. I think it's a journey, right? We quite often want to know and learn about everything, how I can be a better person. Can I do personal development programs, right? But then our foundations are a little bit weak. So at some point, everyone arrives to the same conclusion that my emotions are all over the place when something happens in my life. And it's either way. It could be very, very happy and excited or very sad, right? I think with excitement, we can quite cope. However, I always encourage everyone, when you celebrate something, how can you celebrate without food and drink? Because it's tough. Our culture is really programmed to celebrate with sweets and cakes and champagne and all of that. But you can celebrate whatever you like to do, right? You don't have to do it in a societal prescribed way. You can do it the way that really serves you and your body. So this is one of the examples. And just on my personal note, I'm back in Poland, and over the last few weeks, it was such a difficult time for me because I was on that emotional edge all the time. My father was not well. He spent a few weeks in a hospital. Now he's a little bit in a care home just to, so that he can strengthen a little bit. And in this week, I'm taking him home, and I will be looking after him until he gets stronger and pretty much hopefully having an independent life, because I don't want him to be in a care home unless he has to. But he needs to look after himself. So for me, it's that emotional grounding. He lives on his own. There is a lot of mental health things that that I have to work with him and strengthen his mental health, that he can cope with this. He can cope. He doesn't have to be lonely. He has a lot of people coming and visiting him. It's just he is pushing away sometimes people, and I think that's the problem. The trust is not there. And I think when we're getting ill and not feeling bad, we just blame everyone and everything around us for what happened to us. And it's such a vicious circle, because it's very difficult sometimes to get out of it on your own, right? And I remember this with my mom. She was the same. She was really the same. And I don't blame them. I don't blame my mom that she wasn't. I had a lot of internal things to go through. Like, I'm not responsible for my parents' choices, but I will help them as much as I can. But it's also a lesson learned for me as a parent and as a wife. So it's not going to go in vain. But I don't go and I know that my father could make better, different choices. But sometimes we need in life a bit of the catharsis, something that it will just really open our eyes to what is going on, and we want and crave that change. It doesn't have to be this way. I believe you can do it in a different way. But for some people, that's what happens. Sickness, illness, something that really makes us rethink the way we live. And I will see with my father, because he has a difficult personality, his character. He's stubborn, strong man who is very difficult to be told to do things. But I think we have this rebellious thing in our soul, that sometimes people say us something, tell us something, and we just do the opposite, or we don't do it on the day they say it, because we're like, I don't want that. I know that I will do it, but I'm not necessarily going to follow that because I feel like I'm being told what to do, and I don't like this. There are people who just like oppose. Is like a red blanket for a bull, right? So we have to honor that, and I think it's just the skillful coaching to allow them so that to come to certain conclusions themselves, so that they don't continue that path of being detrimental to their own health, right? So I'll leave this message for you today, and let me know what you think. Respond, hit the button, reply. And I have an interesting offer for you. I'm so excited for it. This is my life's work. And that's a 3 weeks emotional intelligence, emotional grounding program, from triggered to activated. We are triggered at the moment through various things, right? We are triggered through, there is high inflation. There is just crisis looming. There is just like we've gone from one kind of difficult time through pandemic into sort of a little bit of a boost, and then back into some kind of negative environment again. And I truly believe that this winter and autumn can be quite difficult for many people. So we want to make sure that we are staying emotionally strong, so we don't really do anything that detriments our own health, especially mental health. And it's so important, that emotional grounding. It's 3 weeks. We start on the 19th of July. Those are 6 live sessions of various topics, and I will highlight that in my newsletter. What is that? And the link to buy it is as well there. I'm inviting you. I'm not pushing you to do anything you don't want to, because I want you to think, yes, that program is for me. I want to be emotionally stronger. I want to know and want to do things in every day to balance myself, how to remain positive sometimes when like everything around us is very negative. And it's not about toxic positivity. I think people say like positive psychology, it means that I have to be positive all the time. It's impossible, right? Life is 50-50. It's just how we deal with those 50s, right? How we deal with and how we process the negative emotions without detrimental effect, and how we remain calm when there is a lot of excitement and and that happiness, because I want you to be happy, but also understanding that happiness can be found in many different situations. And because I don't live in Poland, I have to come here. And I was so sad, really, and disappointed that I have to spend a lot of time here, where my family is somewhere else, that my daughter is there, and she's older, but I can't build that relationship with. I think teenage years are so important to really build a good relationship with our teenagers. And I just feel like I'm missing out on that. But then I'm reframing this, right? I have a duty of care to my dad, and I want to do it. Basically, I want to help him, and I see how positive effect it has on his mental health that I'm taking him home, because I was considering I have to go back home, so I have to do, in the long term. And I will be thinking about it, but I will give him a chance to improve, and I will work with him on his mental health, making sure that he doesn't feel lonely, because he isn't, right? He absolutely isn't. Maybe I'm gonna get him a cat. I don't know, somebody who can look after and get that emotion stuck in his body to really pour love on a living being, right? And I think it's so important. Love can save us. Love for ourselves, for our bodies, for our minds, and for other people, right? I always say that it doesn't matter what is going on in your life. Love is something that is such an important feeling, right? We have to have love, and I of course love my dad, but I am sometimes angry that why it happened. And it was the same with my mom. And we don't have to be ashamed of those emotions, because they are totally natural. It's just we have to work them out in our mind, and thinking that, okay, that's how I feel. We need to acknowledge that. We can't push this away, because it's part of us being human. So if you are called to join me in this program, I would love to have you on board, and have a lovely week starting on the 19th of July, and then we'll go, and you will have access to, it's going to be in a private Facebook group. I want you to not think about, I need to have a workbook in this. What you need is be on board, be all in, have a notebook ready, right? And take notes and implement it in your daily life. That's what you need. 6 sessions, really feel fully aligned with yourself. Take care, and all the best.